What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on these analysis. We're going to be looking at MSTR and Bitcoin today, and we're just going to be talking about, different plans and our outlook. When you take a look here at Bitcoin, we actually just got our second highest close in Bitcoin's history. Very, very close to that weekly close that we had here in the second week of December, which was December 9th that week. It closed at 104,475 roughly, and we just closed at 104,153. On the weekly, I wanted to wait to make this video to see where the week closed. We're extremely bullish. We were talking about it back over here. We were saying ideally we want to see a close back in this region here above this level, which we did. Got a little bit of sideways action. Then we spoke about a wick fill on the weekly. If you were paying attention to my videos and watched the other videos. If not, you need to like and subscribe so you can see these updates so you don't miss anything. As you can see here, we called this wick fill throughout the week. I'm never going to give you a definite, answer because anything can happen, but I will emphasize on the possibilities of it. So we ended up getting that wick fill that we spoke about. Definitely didn't expect I didn't expect it to break all the way up here, but I was saying to fill this wick here with this candle, saying hopefully this week would finish at least at 97.9 or higher. Ideally, the other scenario that could have played out would have been pushing up, wicking, and not surpassing this wick, either making a lower wick or equal, and then pushing down. That would have been the other scenario. And then if we would have pushed down and broke below 92.7, we could have fallen all the way down. That could have been one scenario. The second scenario that I thought of was wick filling and landing at 98,000 or higher. And we definitely landed much higher than 98,000, which is awesome to see. But we ended up getting a close above the midpoint of this entire range, which is extremely bullish. And then we closed inside of all of this wicking action here. You see this? This is a lot of rejection and, bearish, like a bearish level right here. So the fact that we closed deep inside of here is nice to see. And honestly, I could probably pull this zone down too, and I could make this tighter if I wanted to. I could bring it down to like here. And we're potentially about to break out of this zone. I just had it up here because of the top of the wicks, but I mean, if you really want to, you could bring it here to hug the bodies with the wicks. And that's probably another way that you could have the zone drawn out. And honestly, we're potentially about to break out of it pretty soon. We'll see how this week plays out. Let's see if we get a large move to the downside or this just continues. I mean, when you get your large moves in Bitcoin, they tend to stay put for a long time, and the momentum just carries on. So hopefully we see something like that. When you look at the RSI too, on the monthly, so if you see the 2017 and the 2021 cycle, you can see we've hovered above that, above 70, but most importantly above 80 for an extended period. I feel like once you start touching the 80s, that's a serious move. And we held that 80 level for plenty of months. You can see that. I mean, starting here roughly in April, and we stayed in that region up to December 17th, and honestly, even past December into January as we were still falling. So as you can see, that's an extended move. Here, same thing, December, and then you can see it held it for, all the way out till roughly April. So it'll stay up there, for 4 months or something like that, which would be crazy if we could break 70, which we just broke this yellow moving average, which is extremely bullish. We found a bottom that it seems like that's a key level of support and resistance. when you draw out this line here, you can see that it's acted as support, then resistance as we broke down, support, resistance, and so on. You can see it playing out multiple times. It was a key level. And we bounced off of it, pushed up, bounced off of it just now, and we broke out of that yellow moving average. So it's looking very bullish. We're breaking into the 70s. But man, if we get 3 to 4 months above 80 on the RSI, that would be extremely bullish. But I think once we start breaking this 76 region, it's gonna be real. Stuff's gonna really start happening. Once you break this 76 RSI, because now we're essentially breaking out of this mini bull flag that we created. I'm gonna draw it out for you. So if you take a look here, you have the bull flag. You have your bull flag here, and that's what we have going on here. And once we break above this, I mean, we're getting close. You know, we're halfway. But if we break above this region, it's gonna be game on. Maybe retest, and we're moving up. So that is exactly what we want to see. And if you know, we talk about bull flags a lot on this channel, and bull flags, the way they tend to play out is you have your leg and your measured move. Not saying that it's gonna, you know, land in the 90s, but it's possible. It's happened in the 2 prior cycles. You know, every 4 years you get your finale for the cycle. So it's happened in 2021 and 17. And if you draw that and pull that bull flag, it takes you right to that 90 level. So, and of course, you know, we always talk about it not being perfect. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but if it gets us in the region, 88 RSI, 90, 92, hey, that's good enough for me. So keep that in mind. It's happened the past 2 cycles, every 4 years, remember. 17, 21, now 25. So let's see. That'd be crazy though. If we hit 90, man, the prices can be a lot higher than I have drawn out. But I mean, if you do look at the top of this range, it is sitting at like 370, you know, depending on how far out you go. If you go to November, you're pushing 400K, but I'm not banking on that. So I rather set my expectations lower and then have a nice, you know, reward. But I've seen people call some crazy prices, 500K, 400K. So you're not going to be hearing that on this channel. But I could definitely see, you know, if things go very well, I could see above 200, maybe 250. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope it goes higher than that. I would be gladly wrong. MSTR is currently sitting at 424 in the overnight market on Robinhood. So it actually gapped up currently right now, $8. But we'll see. You know, we have the entire night and pre-market before stuff happens. So I'll make another video in the morning too, or maybe midday. But we'll see what happens there. I do think if, you know, Bitcoin runs up, you know, maybe to 150K, we'd be sitting very pretty on MSTR. Especially when you take a look at the holistic model, it's calling for, you know, 1,200 roughly. So that'd be awesome to see. 1,200 here would be that'd be almost a 200% gain, 190%. And then if you take that and you put that on MSTX on a very conservative basis, so we're gonna do 190 times 2, so 380, takes you to 222, which is nuts. I mean, that's insane. But realistically, that's actually not how it's gonna play out. The reason I say that is it's not actually gonna 2x, as we spoke about. When you take a look at we're gonna go on the weekly. When you measure out the bottom of this wick to the top of this wick, MSTR did 82, MSTX did 200. So 200 divided by 82, that's 2.43x of what MSTR did. It's a 2x leverage, but it's doing more than that because of the compounding leverage. So we'll take that same example of 190 and we'll multiply it by that. And now you're talking about a 460% move. So if you measure that out, 460 takes you way up here to 200 and almost 260 bucks on MSTX. So that's nuts. But it's possible. And remember, the multiplier is just going to increase. The more this goes up and the less pullbacks we get, it's going to increase. The spread's going to go larger and larger. So it's going to go from 2 to 2.5 to 2.75. Next thing you know, it's going to be sitting in the threes. So the multiplier is going to get pretty crazy. MSTX will be a good play if we just rally straight up and we don't get many pullbacks here on Bitcoin, which is possible, but you have to be careful. We'll be here, looking at all of our indicators, tether dominance, pi cycle top, looking at the RSI, seeing how overextended we are, looking at prior history, trying to figure out where to go. And also, we'll also be trimming positions as we increase in case we do get that pullback for the next leg up. We'll trim as we increase in price. We'll trim maybe 25%. I don't know, sell 25%, sell 25%, sell 25%, and then leave 25 and then reaccumulate for the last leg or something like that. It all depends on how things go. Everybody's situation is different too. So my situation is probably different than others, and maybe some other people have a similar situation. So just find what works for you, but I'll let you guys know what I'm doing and I'll keep you guys updated, but definitely have a plan for the move up, because once you see, a decent, it all depends on how much money you're investing, but once you see a certain amount of money that you've never seen before, you might act based on emotion, and you can make poor decisions whenever you're acting on emotion. So just got to keep your emotions in check, stay level-headed. Honestly, and if you sell your position, before you even put your money back into the market, if you make like a significant amount of money, I recommend taking like a week off, putting your money in the market, just kind of like think about how you're going to go about that and how you're going to navigate it. If you make like life-changing money, you want at least like a week or two off and just sit back and see where you're going to reallocate your money. If you're going to go back into being aggressive, how much longer you're going to be at work for, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just come up with a plan and be ready for the move up. Hopefully the move up does happen. That's what we're anticipating. And if you actually draw out some fibs, we'll pull some fibs really quick, and you can see here when you pull for this leg, we stopped here at the 1618 and we got our little pullback. So for this flagpole, you pull up to the 1618, and if we pull it up higher, the 1618 would be sitting somewhere at 160. So maybe the next move is to 160 and we get a little pullback like this, maybe 20% or 30%, and then bounce back for the next leg higher. And if that were to happen, just, this is theoretical. If you were to take like a 30% drawdown, you come right back to, like 110, hit these previous levels, which is going to be acting as a level of support, and then rally up for the next leg up. It's just theoretical. It could possibly just blow past the 1618 and run up to the 2272 or 2618. And then maybe it resets from there and then we go higher. It all depends on where Bitcoin's going to end. That's really going to determine what's coming up now. Because if we run straight up, to 170 or 200,000 within the next 2 months or something crazy like that, then the end target could be, as high as these people were saying, where it's 450, 500K. But if that doesn't happen very soon, then the odds of it actually hitting those targets at the end are slim to none. You need a little bit of time for these moves to play out. So if we are going to hit 400 or 500K, then we got to hit 200,000, I would say within, realistically, maybe we'd have to hit it probably within like 2 or 3 months. Yeah, I'd probably hit it August or September. You'd probably have to hit 250 if you're more than likely going to actually end up hitting that $400,000 or $500,000 target by December. Take that into consideration. Don't believe everything that you hear on YouTube either. Do your own research and kind of come up with your own opinion, because you just don't want to be misguided. So just be careful listening to people. But that's all I have for you guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. I'll see you guys in the next one.